Hey, good morning. It's Mayor Tom McMasters. It's Sunday morning, and I thought that I would go down and write, but I felt the breeze coming in, and it turns out that I just wanted to come out and sit on the deck for a little while. But with that, though, what I wanted to write about was the TIF districts and why the Lane Park TIF district out on Bellefontaine Road is a irresponsible TIF. So with that, I'll start with a little background on the Montgomery County TIF. The Montgomery County TIF is different than the Miami County TIF because it is not a non-school TIF. That means that a lot of the money that comes in for TIF funds is money that comes from the millage that would normally go to the schools. Now, when the Montgomery County TIF was created, this was actually a good thing, and the TIF was a very responsible TIF in itself. And I don't complain about the I-70 TIF too much. We could go into that later. But the I-70 TIF, the Montgomery County TIF for I-70, was a good TIF because it started out so that we could create or we could improve the I-70 interchanges. All right, without the I-70 interchanges being there or being in good shape, you wouldn't have a business like Meyer come up and develop in that area. So we decided to create a TIF to be able to pay for that interchange and brings in a Meyer. That's exactly what the TIF is designed to do with that. Now, when the Montgomery County TIF was created, you never know what land is going to be developed. And so in order to make sure that you could get the $3 million that was necessary in order to pay off that, you created that Montgomery County TIF very big. All right. So they went all the way from where the Walmart property is all the way to Gander Mountain and created a huge TIF with that just to make sure that you would get enough development within the TIF district in order to pay off that loan. Well, as it turns out, you had a lot of development up there, and in 2010 you had enough money to pay off the loan for the interchanges, and there was still development going to go on. In fact, you had $3 million in reserves in there, and the total project was only $3 million. So any money after that would be extra money that you didn't need to pay off the interchanges. Well, what the state law says is if you get to the place where you pay off your the original purpose for the loan, or you don't have enough need for the TIF district anymore, then you have to disband the TIF district or find another project to spend that money on, another infrastructure project. Well, what the city did was they went and they decided to get the aquatic center with the extra money that was coming in from that. All right, so that's kind of all right too. There, we could talk about decision making, and which would be more important was if the money would go to the school or the aquatic center. But that's totally a different subject than what I wanted to talk about today. But after that, they did an audit to how much money that they could get over the whole 30 years if the whole thing was developed, and decided that we could do the music center too. So that original TIF district that was set up to get the money for the I-70 is a district that's definitely going to pay off the aquatic center, and then most of it was going to pay off the music center too. But what the issue turns out to be is that the development wasn't happening quite fast enough in order for them to pay off the music center, or to be assured that they would pay off the music center. So what they decided to do was that anywhere in the city that came and was going to have a development, they were going to turn that into a TIF district and take the money that was going to happen come from the development in and of itself. Now, legally, the law has a loophole in it that makes it so that they can do this at any time like there. So we're not going to complain about the legality of it, but it's the morality of it that I have an issue with. So what we're going to talk about with that then is the Park Lane right there. TIFs are there in order to encourage development. Okay, So in the Park Lane off of Bell Fountain Road, those people had identified that piece of property. They had put a bid in on that property and had a tentative contract for that to do that whole facility before they even came and talked to the city, right? So that development there itself was on track to pay the schools I put 170,000 in there, but the math doesn't quite work out there. But 140, 100 and some odd thousand, I have to look up the numbers, like there a year. And then that money, if the city's not involved at all, that money goes to the school. That 140, $170,000 goes to the school. And the city comes in, and because of the loophole, creates a TIF and takes away about $100,000 a year that the schools would have gotten. And they did this because they were concerned that the TIF district that was supposed to pay off the good TIF district, the I-70 TIF district, wasn't going to be developed fast enough in order to do it. So basically they reached in there and they grabbed $100,000 of money that would have gone to the Huber Heights City Schools, and provided no infrastructure or nothing at all that enticed that business to come to the city. That's where I have a moral objection to how that TIF was created with that. If a development is going to come in and doesn't need any incentives to come into the city, then I think that the school should get the money that they would normally get because of that development. And the other development that was in that same situation is the Family Dollar that is now the Dollar Tree in the Huber Center. All right, the city provided no infrastructure to get that development did, but they went in there and reached in there and grabbed 70% of the school's money that they normally would have gotten with that. So with that, I'm still hoping that in this last couple months we will see the council get on board and make those two TIFs into non-school TIFs. And the reason that I wanted to do this is that I am very concerned that once I leave council here as the mayor, the city council will go back to that philosophy where they will just grab 70% of the school's money every time there's a development within the city. I do not believe that that's the reason for the TIF, and I don't believe it's morally correct that they keep going. They had that plan, they were implemented that plan, and I want to make sure that the current council understands that that plan is not good for the Huber Heights City School, for the city in itself, because we need strong schools in order to attract the kind of people here to the city that will help keep the city strong. Thank you very much. I'm Mayor Tom McMaster, and I appreciate the time that you took to look at this.